never getting out on my own. Every time I do this my way, I get caught in the lies of the enemy. I lay my troubles down, I'm ready for you now. Bring me out, come and find me in the dark now. Every day by myself I'm breaking down. I don't wanna fight alone anymore. Bring me out, from the prison of my own pride. My God, I need a hope I can't deny. In the end I'm realizing I was never meant to fight on my own.
Alright everyone, it's your boy K Natsuki here, back at it again. And, just as I thought I was done recording for the night, an idea popped up. You see, how can I explain this? I've been given requests by so many dudes to do these different types of what ifs, and I'm stressed, I really am. So I went looking basically on my private place, which is basically a place where I can calm down, which is usually Gacha Life videos. And so I was watching these Gacha Life videos, and I saw one particular reaction, which I'll just show you. Hold on, darn. I own no music shown in this part here. I don't own the titles or rights to the video or any of the characters shown in it. Okay, just wanted to say that so I don't get freaking copyrighted. And if any of you show this video to the producers of this music, I swear I will hunt you down and I will end you.
Song about that, you should play it. I get scared when I walk on these stages. I look at the crowd, see so many faces.
Yeah. Pretty much here's something I saw inspired this what if. As I see here, Goku basically goes into some sort of god of destruction form. And I have no idea what it is, but it inspired my what if. This form, you will see basically this. Yeah. Is it just me, or is that God of Destruction, MUI God of Destruction Goku? It looks absolutely terrifying. And awesome. Alright everyone, now let's get into this what if, as I haven't even been able to tell you the what if's name. This is what if Naruto was the embodiment of destruction, or basically the true god of destruction. Allow me to explain this what if. Pretty much, this is what Naruto looked like at the beginning of time. What do I mean by that? Well, let's begin with the story. Long ago, there were two elements, or two spirits, always clashing with each other. One of them was the spirit of, and was the embodiment, and was basically destruction itself, as the other was creation. Creation and destruction for many, many, many years fought. Until one day, creation and destruction had such a great clash that it destroyed their entire existence. And that it basically wiped out their entire existence. And then a new place was given birth to, as this is the existence we know of. What we live in today. As pretty much the true god of destruction, or destruction itself, along with creation itself, they were formless. They were right now formless, just echoes, or just names, words without meanings now, because no one knew they ever existed. Until one day, one fateful night, we go to the Nine Tails attack. As the fourth Hokage, Minato Namikaze, is battling against Obito, who has freed the Nine Tails and has let loose the Nine Tails on Konoha. Or he's basically controlling the Nine Tails to destroy Konoha. As pretty much... Now, allow me to explain here. Kushina, she was thought to be pregnant, but the baby... It was a, How can I explain this? The baby was not ready and it died. And the baby died inside. As pretty much allow me to explain. Obito attacked later and extracted the Nine Tails before the baby could be born. As pretty much without that, and with basically the baby was not born, and therefore Naruto died. And then it happened. Just as they were battling with the Nine Tails, and the Nine Tails basically, as it is known, the Nine Tails has the power of yin and yang release, which is basically the power of good and bad. Yin and yang, the power of balance. Basically, imagine what happens when the Nine Tails' power is unbalanced. Imagine the Nine Tails is a jailer. Imagine yin and yang release, or at least the Nine Tails' yin and yang, is a jailer. A jailer for creation and destruction. However, the Nine Tails has no idea that he is a jailer, and that his very existence keeps pretty much everything in check. Now, unlike canon, Minato would be forced to seal half the Nine Tails into himself and half of it into his wife. The third Hokage sealed half the Nine Tails into Minato and half the Nine Tails into Minato's wife. This was a giant problem, as pretty much he didn't split just the chakra into 50%, and he didn't give one more chakra or more of the soul. He equally split it both. As basically, imagine a gate. Basically, we go to the beginning of existence, or at least this new existence, as there is a gate, or cage. As then, there are there's two glowing symbols on the gate. Well, no, one glowing symbol on the gate. As then the glowing symbol then stops glowing and separates into two symbols. As then the gate basically snaps in half, and it snaps open. As then from the gate, 8 creation and destruction are freed. However, they are not in physical forms, not even forms, just words now. Just ideals. Just thoughts. And then, destruction and creation both get a thought. To be born. To have physical forms. just as they're doing this, and as they basically are excited at the thought, as creation transforms into a Chinese dragon. If you did not know, that's what creation's true form is, because she has the Chinese dragon antler horns. And destruction, well, his true form is a dragon. Like, not a Chinese dragon, just a terrifying winged dragon. As you can see, his horns are not like that of a Chinese dragon's. As the two then go to the earth, as that is where they have sensed, well, no. One of them goes to the earth, the other goes into a location I'm not going to very much discuss right now, because if you have no idea, basically, creation will be the ship, and the being that creation is reborn as will be the ship. Okay? So yeah, just tell me, who should creation be reborn as? As mind you, this is the first time in basically ever, and I mean like forever, in all of existence, and the existence before that, and the existence before that, and everything. This is the first time that creation and destruction have actually been given physical bodies. As pretty much creation goes to a location I'm not telling you of, and destruction goes to the earth. As destruction is swirling around with his dark power, and he then senses, basically destruction senses and sees that their jailer is split in half, and a baby is dead. As destruction, for a quick atom of a moment, then feels remorse. As yes, he may be destruction, but he can feel. As destruction, he doesn't really have a mouth as I said, he doesn't really have a mouth or physical form or anything like that, so he can't really talk and say, hey, I feel bad for the kid. As instead, destruction then sees the idea of, and basically then thinks of the parents, how they just lost a child. As he then decides one thing: to be reborn as this child, so the parents will not be in pain. As pretty much Naruto begins breathing, Naruto begins gathering chakra, or his chakra begins activating or being able to be sensed. As then Minato and Kushina then just say, he's alive? But how? As Kushina then thinks that the Nine Tails chakra might have had something to do with it. As we go to, but it's completely different. As we go to Kurama, who is split in half. As half of Kurama basically says, and as basically the Sage of Six Paths appears in front of both Kuramas. As, you know what he says? Well, not the Sage of Six Paths. God himself, God itself appears. As he then says, why did you two have to be equally split in half? Do you have any idea what you've done? As Nine Tails, or Kurama, is absolutely confused. As then God would show him. Oh, hold on, let me get a picture of God. As God looks like this. As he would say, you fool. You insignificant fool. Allow me to explain. You see, me and my sister, and me and my children, since the beginning of this existence, have basically ruled in comfort. with the whole demons and angels and all that. Before all that happened, you see, before us there was a entirely different existence, and then there was two supreme beings. These two supreme beings, let me just demonstrate how powerful they are. They are so strong that they can obliterate me. They can obliterate all of existence just by tapping it with their pinky finger. As Kurama would then have his eyes widen and gulp, as he'd then say, "Yeah. Now, I should have told you this, but you are pretty much a jailer, as you are divided, you are in half, meaning that the jail is open." As Kurama would then say, "Jail for what?" As God would then say, "These two beings. One of them is creation. The other is destruction. Destruction and creation, the last time they battled, it was basically that resulted in me being created. However, if they can literally erase me just as easily as they created me. So yeah, they're extremely powerful and they can erase existence. One of them is reborn in that boy. As in the one that just died. Yeah. Pretty much destruction has merged with that boy's soul, bringing him back to life. Thus meaning that boy is the incarnate of destruction, or he is the embodiment of destruction, or even better, he is the he's the god of destruction, or true god of destruction. As while this is happening, Naruto's skin would change. It would become black. It would have black symbols on it, and it would look dark, like a curse mark was placed over it, as his eyes would become red and black. As this is pretty much what a reborn form of destruction looks like. But not even God knows what a reborn form looks like, because destruction has never been reborn. This is the first time. As God would pretty much say, shit. Let's just hope that boy never gets to any semblance of even an atom of destruction's power. As if that happens, he would be able to destroy this entire universe. As we go to Naruto, as his parents would think of it as some sort of miracle that their son was alive. As they would call Naruto the hero of the hidden leaf. The miracle of the hidden leaf. Or the only good thing that came out of the Nine Tails attack. As Naruto would... Oh, one thing I forgot to mention. Even if, say, theoretically you were to put Kurama back together, the two would not be resealed because they have, they have physical forms now. By the way, these physical forms, if you did not guess, are immortal. So yeah, pretty much now there is no resealing them, and yeah, now they're back to their full power. Well, soon they'll be at their full power, and bye-bye Earth. And bye-bye existence, if that does happen. as pretty much Naruto would grow up rather nicely. However, the villagers and Donzo would think of it weird and would basically think of it as Naruto was some sort of unholy demon. I mean, as his parents would actually begin to think, why'd his skin change? As they'd ask questions and they would begin to still love and care for him. And then Naruto would get 2 younger siblings. As the 2 younger siblings, right now, Naruto's chakra would be fully replenished, as they would then give Naruto's 2 siblings, Naruto's parents' chakra would be fully replenished, as they would give Naruto's 2 siblings the 2 halves of Kurama. Everyone was wondering what happened in the Nine Tails, as Naruto's sister would look like this. And Naruto's brother would basically be Menma. As Menma would basically be somewhat like canon Naruto, and not arrogant. As he would actually care for his brother. As yes, if you didn't know, this is a neglected what if. As Naruto's parents would start to neglect him, as they would pretty much then only think of his sister and brother, as they were new Jinchurikis, and they were, well, let's just face it, they had a lot more chakra than Naruto, and their potential, I'll say, was greater than Naruto's, as pretty much, yeah. Jiraiya would think that these two were the children of prophecy, as Naruto would be completely left out. However, Naruto's brother, he still cares for Naruto, even though, and Naruto knows this, that he has to pretend to be like everyone else. As over time, the sweet kindness of their parents would turn into an overprotectiveness for Naruto's 2 siblings. As when everyone asked, and pretty much everyone would ask what happened in the Nine Tails. As then they would basically figure out that they'd basically be inching closer and closer to the point where Menma and Mito had power similar to that of the Nine Tails, as they were basically developing theories that they're the reincarnations of the Nine Tails and we should beat the crap out of them. But then, one day as pretty much one day when Minato was worried on what to do with his children, he would be given an idea by... He would basically have been given an idea by his wife, Kushina, as she would say, why not tell them that Naruto is... Why not tell them that Naruto's the reincarnation of the Nine Tails? That way they'll get off of the 2 children's backs. As he'd then say, yeah, you're right. As the 2 would then, in the morning, say that Naruto is the reincarnation of the Nine Tails. As they wouldn't really care much about Naruto, as Naruto, what they think, holds no special type of power, and besides his freakish looks, as everyone would think of him as a demon. already. As when the villagers heard this, they said, "I knew it! That Brat is a demon after all. No one is born with that weirder skin. No one is born with red and black eyes. Well, aside from Uchihas. But Naruto cannot turn off his eyes, like an Uchiha. As they would begin basically, Naruto's sister would begin to beat on him, as his parents, they would actually buy into the lie they made of Naruto being the reincarnation of Nine Tails, and would actually think of him as a demon. As they would beat him, neglect him, they wouldn't train him or feed him, as Naruto would be alone and sad. The reason why he's sad is because he knows that he's the only. He has no one there for him, as his brother Menma has to basically pretends that he neglects Naruto and hates him just for his parents. As when Naruto was younger, pretty much we go to the first day of the academy, for the academy graduation exams. As this is Naruto's first day outside. What do I mean by that? It's his first day outside the basement. As, yes, they don't have, Naruto doesn't even have a room. As he's basically, he is basically ignored, and they kind of forget he even exists. Everyone except for Menma, of course. Because Menma and Naruto, they have a special bond. Not like in love, but they're brothers. As they basically, they care for each other no matter what. Now, allow me to explain why this is. As pretty much a cousin of Destruction's would have been alerted that Destruction is free. Now, this cousin of Destruction's would be Death, and would be Darkness. As pretty much, Menma would be Darkness. But the only thing that would be different from a normal Uzumaki or a person of his type would be that he had black hair. As pretty much, Menma would also have red eyes, but they would make up a lie for that, saying that, saying that Minato was like a small, tiny amount of Uchiha. And that Minato's clan was a small amount of Uchiha. As Minato, and as people would buy this. Now, his parents would think maybe it's just because he has the bad half of the Nine Tails. Maybe it's just because he was born with the bad half of the Nine Tails. As yes, when his siblings were born, his parents actually gave up the two halves of the Nine Tails and sealed them inside. As Naruto would pretty much, Naruto would pretty much just be left alone or behind, as he would be neglected. No one would train him. In fact, they wouldn't even have him go to school. as they would forget about him that much. As they would neglect him that much, they wouldn't feed him or nothing. As eventually, Naruto would become so skinny that he would pretty much look like a skeleton. And with just a thin thing of flesh on it. As then, one day, Naruto gets so hungry that he blacks out. As Naruto is surrounded with a purplish glowing, and with a purple glowing aura. As Naruto busts out of the basement and basically transforms into a semi-dragon form, as he is running to the village in a hungered state. As he's running and running and running, and he basically busts through the walls of the village and keeps on running and running and running. As he begins destroying multiple villages, taking multiple, and basically killing multiple people. As Naruto, from causing destruction, he begins to be fed. As Naruto can be fed by two things, normal food and destruction. As Naruto was basically destroying, say, 13 villages. Small ones, though. As he was basically rummaging around, devouring in souls and other things about causing destruction. As when Naruto was basically full, he would rush over back to the leaf, making another hole and breaking into the village a second time, and then going back to the basement. As Naruto would wake up in his normal state, or at least this, as he then said, "Ooh, I'm so full, but why? I never eat." As Naruto would not look like a skeleton, but he would look like he actually ate. Like he would look like he ate nothing but 5-star, by 5-star dinners and 5-star steak dinners each and every night for his entire life. Naruto would pretty much walk out of the village the next day, as then people would say, "It's the demon! It's the demon! He broke loose last night, it's the demon!" As they began to hit him and burn him. No, what I mean burn is they would grab sticks. They would use some sort of fire. They'd use any type of fire jutsu, light the sticks on fire, and burn him. As they'd throw these flaming sticks all over him, and Naruto's skin would actually burn. As his flesh would melt, and he would scream out in pain, "Why? Why? Why?" Now, back to Naruto's parents. Now we go to Naruto's parents. As they would then say, the demon is taken, and the demon is back. The demon is taken over. But deep in their subconsciousnesses, deep when they actually know that Naruto, deep in their minds, they actually know that Naruto isn't the demon fought, and isn't the Nine Tails. But something they were also wondering is, what was that, though? If Naruto isn't the Nine Tails, then what was that power? As he broke through the entire village and destroyed 13 villages. This, of course, they were wondering deep in their heads, as everyone would call Naruto the demon, the demon, the demon. And they would hurt him and burn him and attack him, and some would even kill him. As Naruto would basically just be sad and in a cave outside and inside of the, basically he'd be in a cave underground inside the village's perimeters, as he'd then say, why did that happen to me? What did I do wrong? As Naruto would actually be crying, as he'd then say, I don't even have the 9 tails in me. It's in my siblings. Why can't they understand that? As then Naruto would hear a voice in his head saying, and would basically hear a voice, and would basically then say, then what did I do? Did I destroy 13 villages? As Naruto would now be getting memories of him destroying the villages. As he then say, is there anyone like me? Am I a demon? Am I a monster? As then Naruto would hear a voice in his head, and would basically hear a female voice saying you're not a monster. You're far from it. As Naruto would then look up and see a cliffhanger. As I'm sorry, as I said, I don't really have long amount of time, but yeah, this is where I'm going to leave it off on right now. Sorry, hope y'all enjoyed this part, and goodbye.